Two. So just a little bit about SME. It's formerly known as the Society for Manufacturing Engineers. It's now just known as the SME, and we'll talk a little bit about the reason why. The SME as a whole is based at Dearborn, Michigan. It's a nonprofit that promotes advanced technology in manufacturing and workforce development. And so we are the local portion of that effort right here serving Northeast Indiana and South Chicago. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit today quickly about what we do and how we do it. Okay, so summing up what the chapter does, we confront the skills gap. And so per our mission, it's primarily in manufacturing, but in actuality, it's in a broader sense. And we'll talk a little bit about that, what that means. So, what is the skills gap? And here's my attempt at defining it. There's actuality, many different ways to define it. Basically, it's the separation between what companies need on a technical basis and what they can get. Maybe in a local economy, what does that mean? So let's say you're a company that does CNC machining, and no matter what you try to pay CNC machinists, you can't find any CNC machinists. Maybe you're doing something a little bit more advanced. Maybe you're engineering some product, and you can't find product engineers. Particularly product engineers that know skill sets around advanced product design. Or you're a software shop, you can't find programmers. So there's varying levels, various skill levels, I think, that you're going to find out in industry in terms of what companies want, what they can find. And actually the skills gap is a national problem, and I believe also a local problem here for a lot of businesses. So we work to try to confront that. Okay, so I talked about the broader mission of the SME. So in a sense, the broader mission of the SME and of our chapter is to promote advanced manufacturing, to skill up people to participate in what we call advanced manufacturing. That's a broad term. What does that really mean? And so here's another attempt of mine to sort of, articulate a path, one possible path to advanced manufacturing. And so this could include things like mathematics, physics, computer programming, digital prototyping, industrial Internet of Things. Of course, Frank just talked from MEMX on the importance of embracing IAoT, potentially in your shop, additive manufacturing, robotics, all the way up to artificial intelligence. And what I mean by the broader sense is, yes, all of these fields play into advanced manufacturing, but in the pursuit of these fields, from a chapter's perspective, they can also branch off into non-manufacturing related startup growth, competitive businesses locally that have more knowledge in their pocket, economic development in general, and workforce enhancement for people that may be displaced by automation, for example. We're skilling them up so they can take, if their job is replaced by a robot, they can take a maintenance role perhaps. And so we educate them in part on an individual basis on perhaps how to approach that. So, we have a variety of programs as a chapter. Locally we do classes and workshops fairly regularly. We just launched a webinar program that's receiving a lot of support nationally, where we talk about digital manufacturing and digital engineering in general. We do a lot of local support. So in fact, after I leave here, I'm going to Green Cow Co-working in downtown Hammond to do technical office hours. I do that every first, third, and fifth Wednesday of the month from 12 to 7. Anybody has a technical question about anything, come on in. Could be about manufacturing, maybe not. The goal is you can't get to advanced manufacturing without having a technical backbone in place locally. You need that bedrock of technical people to even start talking about advanced manufacturing. So it does serve our interests in the advanced manufacturing to work on the broader technical sphere. For students, so I represent what's called the professional chapter 112. Okay, we also work with a number of universities who have their own student chapters, which are student-run with a faculty advisor. And for them, we really have industry guidance and career enhancement. These are really two birds of the same feather. So the most common question I'm asked by students is, what does industry want when I graduate? What are they looking for? We can provide that connection to those students through the corporate sponsors that interface with us at SME, that information trickles down and we can provide that to the students. And in fact, we can take it a step further and give the students enhanced applied knowledge in up and coming advanced manufacturing topics or advanced engineering topics. Okay, so, we mainly work on an individual basis. We don't really work on a corporate basis, although we do accept feedback from corporations in terms of what they'd like to see out of a workforce. And of course, we incorporate that into chapter events. There are more organizations that I'm calling friends here, not exactly partners, but friends, that can provide a little bit more physical help to companies and a little bit more, I think, long-lasting support. So, Green Cow Co-working, we do a lot of, if you're looking for co-working space in North Indiana, we do a lot of events there, obviously. Purdue CMEC, which we're here right now. We direct people that may need training in robotics or process control or PLCs to them. Lock Group does lean consulting. I believe Phil was in here at least a couple times last month. IMEC is Illinois' MEP effort. And if for Indiana companies, we have Purdue MEP. The DMDII is a Chicago-based research firm. They do research into advanced manufacturing. And then the Indiana Small Business Development Center, if anybody needs startup advice. So these people help fill out the gaps that we can support as a chapter. And so we work with them closely to complete the picture of support locally. So the chapter is supported through membership dues indirectly and community feedback. So what I mean by that is we are here as a nonprofit to support the community. If the community has no need for us, we have no presence here. We operate directly based on community feedback. So if a company is struggling to find workers, ideally they would communicate that to us, and we would help do our part to produce public events that are generally free so that the public can attend and maybe get skilled up. So, feedback is probably, besides the financial component of this, the feedback is actually the most important. The interest, because that's how we're sustained, at least, programmatically, we're sustained that way. Okay, so the chapter board is myself. My dad is chair-elect. He has 45 years of mechanical engineering experience, so, obviously he's a great resource. Thomas Gadini, he's been with the chapter a long time. He's our treasurer. Great resource in terms of general manufacturing topics and process control. And Debbie Blades, which is also, she has an office right here at CMEC. She's, I don't know what her new role is, but she is going into a role to act as a liaison between the students and industry in terms of career opportunities and internships. And so we are going to support her in that through the student chapter at Purdue. Okay, so we're very fortunate to have these individuals part of the chapter. And so there is some contact information. If you want to get a hold of any of these individuals, I suggest you do the email address there. And of course, follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. We post all the events that we're doing. We take feedback from there. So I'd highly recommend those resources. Okay, well, thanks to WJOB, 1 Million Cups, and of course all of you, and even on the radio, for listening in today.
Thank you so much, Adam. At this point, we'll go ahead and take some questions from the audience, as well as we can open the lines, 219-845-1100. Great presentation, and we do here at 1 Million Cups support at least one nonprofit a month. So if you're a business and you're looking to do a presentation, we have hundreds, even thousands, between our multiple platforms that can hear what it is that your business is doing. So if you're in the region, make sure you go onto 1 Million Cups and look up the Hammond location to put your business in the hat so that we can hear from you. Any questions from the audience? All right, Tom.
Nice presentation, Adam.
Thank you.
Question, is there one particular industry right now that stands out as lacking in people with those specific skills. Like if you were going to give advice to a young person to say, hey, who was struggling to go into something, didn't know what they wanted to do, they were looking for ideas. What industry is it that is just crying out?
You mean
for
like
people?
a freshman that didn't
Exactly.
quite know where to
Right.
place themselves?
Right,
in
and they
the
wanted to know
curriculum?
where the opportunity was.
Sure. I think broadly speaking, I'm going to be a little bit biased because I'm an engineer. There is massive opportunities, of course, in the STEM fields. And so it doesn't have to be engineering explicitly, but any science or technology field, which we do support generally with our programs, I think is a great choice if you are a person that's creative, potentially enjoys problem solving. Definitely engineering and manufacturing or any scientific field would be a great choice. And we need more people there, of all shapes and sizes. So, I don't think you have to go hard to find a article to discuss the problems that manufacturers and engineering houses and even big companies like General Electric are having finding viable workers. And I think people will be rewarded for that financially and intellectually if they get into those fields. Is that okay?
I know you spoke on having chapters at the collegiate level.
Yes.
Do you have them also at the high school level? The reason I ask is because I know there are a lot of STEM programs in the region where that may be a stepping stone, so they're aware of the different programs and support that they have to kind of have interest in that field going into college.
Sure. Great question. There's actually a top-level SME program outside of the chapter that's called Prime Schools. I'm not personally familiar with a lot of what they do, but they do in part go into high schools to help them articulate their STEM programs a little better. We as a chapter, we will definitely support high schools and even middle schools if they come to us and they say we'd like some STEM support or industry input. Certainly we would go in there and provide that kind of support for them. For instance, we are trying to get, as a community, I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with it, there's called the National Hour of Code. It's in December. And so this is a nationwide effort to get high schoolers and middle schoolers, and even younger, in a lot of cases nowadays, to do at least an hour of code on a particular day. And so in essence, because you're inviting them to do code, the theory is that there would be a lot more people that are maybe interested in STEM, and they didn't realize it. So that is a example of the kind of support we could give a high school or a middle school. And we encourage them to come to us and talk to us. And if we can't help them, we'll be upfront about it. But right now, the only formal programs that exist are at the university level. But we, of course, informally help high schools and middle schools with their technical challenges as well.
From your experience when it comes from the clients, the one-on-one counseling and support you provide people, do you find people who are kind of changing fields or having to find those transferable skills to fit the different gaps that exist?
So far, the consulting support office hours, is that what you mean, the office hours, like a green cap? So far, they've been people that already have businesses, and they just have run into some technical challenges if they're looking to modify their product, or maybe a startup looking to start a technical business, but they don't know how to get started. It can be where they don't know what to expect. So it's been sort of that nature, people that are already in sort of the late entrepreneurial phase to already have businesses. They just have technical hurdles. We hope to see it in the broader sense, obviously, in time, where, maybe someone that's, working in a low-skilled position at a manufacturing plant, for example, wants feedback in terms of what they should be looking at, what they should be working on. We can help them directly, and then we can take that feedback, of course, and package it up into an event or a series event. I mean, we're in here for the long haul. So, we will do high-level webinars, for example, and if people give me feedback, hey, I didn't quite understand that, what did you mean by that? Can you dive down? This complex topics we're talking about here in some cases. We'll do other webinars to dive down into those things and help them understand those problems. So we would like to see more of that, actually.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thanks.
And as we mentioned before, 1 Million Cups is an opportunity for different small businesses and entrepreneurs to showcase what it is that they're doing in the region. And we thank all our participants. We actually have a presenter next week, Nassim Abdi, and he has a startup called Doc Academia. And this is like an Airbnb for social justice documentary. So that will be a very interesting presentation next week. And then we also will have our first Founders Hours on October 6th on the National Manufacturing Day. And we have Arog Garg, and he is the founder CEO of Datus, and he's actually was named Forbes 30 under 30. So that was national recognition for him. So make sure that you stay tuned and stay connected to the different things 1 Million Cups has. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, Coffee Cabin and Nana Sweets, for supporting us and giving us that 1 million part of our 1 Million Cups and our energy for the day. So thank you again for staying tuned in, and we will see you next week here at 1 Million Cups. This is Crystal Lynn with iRaise Radio.
Not by your radio.